Continuing the recurring British children's TV theme, this video is focused on shows within this category that for various reasons felt more suited to a casual list video than separate reviews. All of them were broadcast in the 90s, all involve puppets, so it was hard to string this one together, and some are reasonably obscure. The most recognised will be mentioned first, namely Tots TV. From the production company that brought you Teletubbies comes the tale of three puppet creatures who live together in a secret cottage with their friend Donkey, a mysterious canine puppet creature who never affects the events of an episode because he's never even noticed by the Tots, and of course a magical backpack, better known as Sac Magique. Its most weird attributes are the Tots' designs leading to limited mouth movement, the canine creature, the fact most of the animals in the intro never appear in the programme, and the trio's confusing relationship. They don't seem to be siblings, one of them only speaks French while the other two are clearly English. They also live without supervision despite their naive nature implying they are children. Their somewhat childish interests also imply that they are children, says the grown man talking about kid shows. Despite its reasonable popularity and the fact I watched it regularly in my distant youth, this is probably the least interesting show on the list, even though there is some unique nostalgic appeal. Its tone is fairly relaxed, but other children's shows better capture that mood because in Tots TV the characters slightly lack endearing qualities. Apart from Tilly, if she'd pursued a solo career away from the other two talentless hacks, she'd still be in the industry now. She should have listened when her agents told her that. Off we go together now to see what show is next, and it is the Riddlers. The Batman villain with a similar name never appears. Well, there was that one episode. Mossop and Tiddler, two elfish puppet creatures, live in a northern English garden and interact with the garden's non-puppet owner Marjorie and fellow non-puppet neighbour Mr. Grimley. One of its interesting features was that most episodes included a story being told in which the moral had to be identified. The presentation in those segments was limited though, and this idea will appeal less to people who like fairy tales less than me, which is most people who instead have friends. Its most bizarre attributes are once again the detailed puppet designs, the tales being told in slideshow form with a narrator that totally changed the tone temporarily, and a theme tune that feels more suited to a dark, dramatic Tim Burton meets Tolkien fantasy saga than a show where two generic people talk to two slightly less generic puppets in a garden in Yorkshire. A YouTube commenter pointed out that the theme sounds uncannily similar to a song by folk metal band Skyclad. It's not without merit, and I feel like if I'd seen more than maybe one episode at most in my youth, I'd have enjoyed. It offers some solid humour and an almost satisfactory balance of magic and mundaneness. Slightly more magic would be helpful because the show's not quite relaxing enough for that to be an obvious trait. It feels more logical to amplify the excitement. Why am I giving improvement tips to an obscure series that finished over 20 years ago? Try riddling out the moral of that story while I progress to the next show, the tale of repulsive puppet people Sydney Sludge, his evil siblings, one of whom was apparently taking a break from the Street Fighter game franchise, and the ghosts who regularly aid Sid without his knowledge. There are some creative design choices and stories, but while the craftsmanship is admirable, the characters' appearances and some irritating voices make it difficult to feel affection for some of them, and I generally really like puppets. Also, Sid's siblings are Technicolor, while no other living character on the show is. Is a green or blue face a mark of a villain? If they were naturally green or pastel blue, I have a feeling they'd have been judged harshly by society, even if they'd never turned evil. Apart from the visuals, its most bizarre attributes are the fact that the bay is located inside a bottle, which is kept inside a house, like the city of Kandor, and among the titular spooks, there is a baby. So did he die when he was a baby, or was he born as a ghost because a pregnant ghost gave birth to him? Both possibilities are very disturbing. Before the next show, I should mention anyone interested in the topic can find separate reviews on more beloved British children's TV shows in the link above. I should also mention Sean of retro gaming review channel Vacant Skull Archives, who so far has recognised every piece of media referenced on this channel, however obscure. Let me know if you were aware of the following too, Sean, because they are ridiculously niche, and I'll know if you're lying. I definitely won't know if he's lying, but I won't tell him that. Oops, shouldn't have recorded this bit. We will continue the list with Hodgepodge House. Inside a house made of various materials, it really is a hodgepodge house. Oh, friendly and appropriately named puppets Nana, Rags, Wooly and Shelley, who being a tortoise is obviously named Shelley because of his love of the writing of Frankenstein author Mary Shelley. Nana narrates short stories enlivened by vivid claymation, while Shelley, Rags and Wooly's playful interactions take centre stage. Other segments taught counting or home-based arts and crafts. The puppets are far more charming than any of the ones in the previous series because there's less of an obvious attempt to make them look human. I watched regularly and hugely appreciated this in my youth, though probably only saw a small number of episodes repeatedly on a VHS taped from TV. It is almost definitely the most pleasant show on the list. Its most weird attributes are the abstract designs of the house and the segments devoted to singing vegetable puppets, including a spring onion doing a Roy Orbison impression, which is strange because usually only red onions do that. Oh wait, they don't call Shelley the tortoise Shelley because he likes the works of Mary Shelley. They obviously call him that because he likes the works of Shelley Duvall. Finally, we have Megamaths. In a magical kingdom, basic mathematic principles are encountered by playing card-themed people, including the Joker. That's the second time a Batman villain's name has come up in this list of obscure British puppet shows. Megamaths also featured a duo of gargoyles who guard the palace doors. They were among the very few things I remembered about this show, which I've wanted to find out the name of for years. Felt a completely unearned sense of achievement once I did. It's comparable to Labyrinth and Alice in Wonderland, though less good than either. Though this show about playing card people does have some strong suits. Agreeable humour, enthusiastic performances, and lavish design, but the education and entertainment angles of the show clash slightly. I typically saw this when I was home from school sick. Or maybe I was just pretending to be sick to avoid going to school. I can admit I did that occasionally. The school can't punish me now, and nor can you, mother. I'm sorry, mother. Ironically, the main reason I'd ever avoid school was to avoid maths lessons. Karma is real. And the list is concluded. Feel free to comment about which of these shows you remember, and even mention some other obscure titles. Some have been named in previous uploads, so I could make another video in this vein if people were interested in that. Thanks for watching, and if I don't see you next time, I'll assume you're in work, because your attempts to fake being sick to get the day off failed. Beyond the far horizon in a place called Bottle Bay, the full moon is arising and the spooks are on their way to Hodgepodge House. Come on and join the fun. Off we go together now. 1, 2, 3, boo!